Greetings everybody, Fu here with the next part of building your Republic Commando DC17M Polymer Armory plaster. I did some more cleanup work and I got all the magnets in, so I wanted to show you where all those go because it's kind of important. So, alright, when you're looking at the main blaster body here, you're going to cut this section out like I had shown you earlier. You're going to want to take your Dremel with a small sand drum on it like this one, and you're going to want to clean out these areas here, 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 and here, and you want to clean it out all the way to the edge, because that's where your magnets are going to have to sit in for the piece that connects in here. And once you glue those magnets in, they're going to take up even more space. You're going to clean that out really well and make sure that you do all the cleanup work around the piece. I went around and I did sand where this seam is all the way around, where it's going to be visible. Like you can see, I didn't do anything here because it's going to be covered the whole time. I don't care. This, it's going to be covered the whole time. I don't care. But everywhere else I went through with different levels of sandpaper and just took that seam down so that when I paint it, it won't be near as visible or visible at all. So get your clean out work done here. And then on the blaster, likewise, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to clean out those areas and you're going to grind it out. And make sure that you've got room for the magnets. Go all the way out to the edge of this lip here. Inside those pieces, you are going to end up putting these two parts. This will go into the lower blaster. This will go into the upper receiver. So on the lower one here, there's holes. You might have to cut a little bit of the plastic out for the magnets and just give it a quick run around with an X-Acto blade. You want the magnets to be a snug fit. And then on the back side, I used a little different Devcon. This one you can actually use inside without melting your brain. Holy crap, who knew they made such a thing? This is plastic steel, I think is what it's called. It doesn't have the same tensile strength as the plastic welder, but Jim sent me some when he was closing. There is plastic steel epoxy, and it ends up a dark gray or a black depending on how you mix it. But for what I'm doing here, since this isn't going to be a seam piece or having a lot of tension on it, and I had some extra tubes of it, it was a good chance to pull it out and use it. But you're going to glue those in from the back side. You want to make sure that it's completely flush, because this is going to mate up with this piece when they're together. And I'm not going to do it now because it's a pain in the butt to get it off when it's magnet on magnet, because those are rare earth magnets. Alright, so you're going to get all four of those glued in, and then eventually you're going to paint this part and this part black so that just this part remains blue for lighting it up if you want to light it later. So there's your first four magnets, and those will go into the lower receiver. That piece will fit right in there, and you want it to be snug up against here and fit all the way around all the sides, and it'll go in nice and flush. And then you'll use four of the short fat screws to get those corners in, and then there's two tiny screws up front to hold that section in. Alright, while we're looking at the lower receiver, you're going to drill it. Well, sorry, these are already drilled out. It's a 3/8 hole. You're going to use the two of the 3/8 magnets. When I do magnets, I make sure that I've always got the polarity the same coming up both ways. Other people like to mix them. I like to figure it out, so all of these are, I think, positives up, so that when I'm putting the other magnets, it's easier to remember which ones are which. So these are both same polarities, and when you cut out the side, it makes it so that you can actually get in there and glue the back of those on. And again, make sure that they're flush, because you're going to want contact, but you're not going to want a space created because of those. So to marry up with that, you're in the magazine, you're going to have a couple of 3/8 holes that are already drilled to the correct depth. But you're going to put your magnets in there and make sure that you double check the polarity before you put them in here, because you don't want them pushing against each other. Make sure that they're drawing. And a little tricky with these, because it is such a tight squeeze when you get your glue inside the hole. you may have a little bit of an issue with air getting trapped in there. It's going to want to keep pushing the magnet out. So just a little bit of glue goes a long way. Get those pushed down in there. And then I actually ended up taking a clamp and clamping it down for 24 hours just to make sure that it held in place and that the air was able to work itself out. Now that they've had time to cure, boom, magazine snaps in nice and secure. That's not going anywhere. And it takes a little bit of oomph to get it out. So there's some more of your magnets coming along the back here. Inside the hatch where that opens up, there's a spot for that tiny little magnet that's going to come with the kit. So that's going to slip in there. And once you cut out the back side here, you can, see if I can get some more better light in there. Anyway, trust me, there's glue in there on the back side holding it in. And hey, torch, there we go. Apparently my phone's British. So you'll glue that up from the back side, just make sure that that's secured. And that should be the magnets on the lower receiver. So you've got your tiny one there, your 2 3/8 there, and then the rest are going to be from other pieces that get added to it. Alright, so into the upper receiver, you've got the matching surface. Same thing, you're going to sink the magnets in, make sure that they're flush, and you've got the polarity so that they're drawing towards that plate below it. Get them glued in place, and then cut out as much of the extra glue as you can because you don't have as much room, and you want to make sure that that edge is going to sit right there like that. So it's a nice tight fit, and that will give you your upper receiver, and then you'll use your screws to connect those 4 spots. And then the goal will be, when you bring this down onto the lower receiver, the magnet will go magnet to magnet, and it'll be a nice tight fit on there. All right, moving on. So on the blast hatch that swings out, you're going to have a small magnet that's going to fit right in there. Same thing, you're going to get the glue in there, push the magnet in, use a clamp to hold it down because that air is going to want to keep pushing it back out, and then it'll attach real nicely and keep that door from popping open. And yeah, that's the magnet there. And then on the upper receiver, I skipped this one, sorry. Behind the front sight post, you're going to have a magnet that you put in here. And it's going to be right above this notch. And then on your flip up, you're going to add one of your magnets in there, glue it in place, clamp it. And then when you hinge this in place, that will drop into the notch and the magnet will hold everything in place. So it's just another level of security, and it keeps that from flopping up when you don't want it there. When you do go to connect this, you'll actually use the Allen hex bolts, and those will go on the side here, and then you'll just need to work them in real carefully. Do not use power tools on this. Use hand tools. Go slowly so that as you thread and work your way into the resin, you're creating the path for them and you're not stripping it out. Otherwise you're going to have issues. But those will be how you hinge those in from the sides. And then your last bit of magnet work is going to be on this sliding rail that goes on the very top. You're going to have 2 little square magnets. That one goes in that side and one goes in that side. And this will actually be the piece that, balancing act here, is going to worst camera work ever, Combs. Alright, so that's gonna snap right in there, and this piece will actually slide forward and back a little bit once it's in its track. So when you do get the sniper attachment, if you get the sniper attachment, this will actually slide back a little bit, and those magnets on the side will be where the rear arm's attached to. So that is all of the magnet and attachment work that you're going to have to do. You'll also run the long screws through the butt plate and hand screw those right into the back of the weapon and create your openings. So that's part 2. And next step is I'm going to start painting this all black, and then I'll do the silver work after that. A lot of people ask, is it all black? Is it black and silver? Most of the images I'm seeing now that are the accepted are kind of a gunmetal black, a subdued, maybe a light shine to it, and then there's a silver or a gunmetal gray that is in some of the other areas. So that's what I'm going to use for my paint scheme. Either one's going to be approvable, all black or with silver, but just give it a little extra touch. I'm going to follow the silver design, but we'll go with all black first, and we will see you in the next video.